Every day, 10,000 seniors turn 65 in the United States, and the majority of them want to age in their own homes. Now, if you could write the script for how you'd spend your final years, chances are it wouldn't include a nursing home. My next guest is transforming the home health and hospice industry. She's a #1 bestselling author, international speaker, and nurse, Cheryl Peltekis. Cheryl built and ran a multi-million-dollar Medicare certified and JCO accredited home health and hospice from the ground up for over 20 years, deficiency-free. And she is that rare clinician who gets sales and business development. She's authored the 5 Steps to Sales Success, Superhero Customer Service, and the 5-Step High Performance Selling Manual. She's the former host of a weekly radio talk show called Health Matters, and she was awarded Sales Manager of the Year by Playmaker CRM and received the Who's Who Lifetime Achievement Award. Let's meet powerhouse Cheryl Peltekis. Well, hi, Cheryl. Nice to have you here.
It is so nice to be here with you, Mike. Thank you so much.
All right. So you are very accomplished. Not only are you a mother of 5, you are an RN who made the transition to doing and running a business in home health and hospice. So how'd you get started in this business in the first place?
So I kind of grew up in a unique environment, Mike. I grew up in what we call the Hawkins Family Nursing Home. My parents were full-time caregivers. I grew up in Philadelphia. In a little row home. I always say Will Smith was one neighbor and Rocky Balboa was another.
All right, so you know what it's like to have a little bit of attitude.
Oh yeah. That's definitely part of being from Philadelphia, the bold north, right? So definitely when I was growing up, my parents were full-time caregivers. So I saw what really happened on the receiving end of family members needing support at home. And as I got older, it became very normal for us, even at the age of 10, to change diapers or to help feed somebody. Mm-hmm. And I kind of knew I was on the path of probably most likely becoming a nurse. What happened though was like I did not qualify for a lot of grant money because my dad did make a little bit too much money, but we still did not have enough for me to go to college.
It's the classic growing up as an entrepreneur's kid. I had the same thing happen too, I understand.
Yeah. And so then I was lucky enough, though, that Pennsylvania Hospital, our nation's first hospital, they would give 1 scholarship a year for a student to go to nursing school. And I happened to be the recipient of that. So with that opportunity, I really felt like I had a sense of, I've got to do something with this. Like, I cannot take this for granted. I felt like it was winning the lottery, right? It was like, this is your ticket to making a life of success. And it was also doing something that was going to be giving back to the community and making me feel like a valuable producing human.
Right.
So I became a nurse, and then I had to do my 3-year prison sentence at the hospital. I call it the prison sentence because it kind of felt like they put you on the oncology floor.
Oh,
you know, the worst floor in the hospital. And from that, once I was done my 3 years term, I knew immediately I wanted to work in home health and hospice with the way that I grew up. It just made sense for that transition. So I was lucky enough that when the position became available in their home health company, of course, that's where I transitioned to. I stayed there for just 2 years and came home one day and had the idea that, hey, I'm ready to open up my own because I didn't like the way they were doing things. I told my husband, and my husband looked at me like, are you crazy? You're 26, we have 1 baby, you're pregnant with another one, and you want to open up your own home health agency. And I said, yep. So I sent a request to the Department of Health. This was before PCs, right? We didn't have home computers back then. And they sent these 11 manuals about 8 inches thick each on telling me how to get started. And 6 months later, I was going through my Medicare certification.
Wow. Very,
that's how
very
I started my first business. 2 years after that, I opened up a private duty company. And then, unfortunately, it's so funny how I guess God knows what he's doing, but he gave me that experience as an oncology nurse. And then my mom ended up getting diagnosed with ovarian cancer.
Oof.
And during that journey of my mom actually passing away, my mom helped me write my company's policies for hospice. And I opened up a hospice, and we branded it with the ovarian cancer colors in honor of my mom.
Wow. Well,
so that was my third business.
Wow. So first of all, I'm sorry for your loss, and it's very rough.
That.
Anyone who's been through the cancer process, either on the receiving end or watching it, knows it is a struggle. So how did that impact what you believe about home and hospice care and how you've built and grown your businesses since?
Yeah, so I think the beliefs started so young, and they're so strong. The passion that's there is so strong, and I think it's there because I realized as I started opening my own home health agency how many of the services were not being delivered even into my own childhood home. And I realized that there's a knowledge deficit that exists today amongst the hospital, the doctors. We all think they know everything. And you might be shocked to know this, but the doctors are not taught anything in their curriculum about what is covered under the home health benefit. And really, when does a patient become eligible? And what does Medicare or other insurances actually pay for? So because of that lack of knowledge, they're not a great resource. Yet so many family members will go back to the doctor's office and say, tell me what to do with mom. What should I do with my dad? And we're not even thought of as an option. So my mission has been with my agency first. It started with trying to get the doctors in the area to refer back to us. And now my mission is with Melanie on our journey to at home care sales. Our mission is to really increase that footprint and try to get as many people as we can out educating everybody about the services that we provide.
So I know one of the things that you also focus on is just the fact of the issue of healthcare workers and what's going on in terms of the volume. So why don't you speak to that?
So as you know, you mentioned in the opening how many seniors there are every day, 10,000 seniors a day turning 65. With that increased demand in the population, we need to have more caregivers. In fact, it's estimated over the next couple of years, we're probably going to need close to about 41% more caregivers, or about 4 million. And with that shortage, there's got to be operational things that organizations can do to either recruit and retain staff, but retaining is the piece that I think that we're losing a lot of. And that's where I had written the customer service book, because I believe that if you can really make sure that you treat your employees like they are your most precious customer, they're going to come back, they're going to stay with you, that employee's not going to leave you, and they're going to be great to your customers. Right. So I think that you can approach home care sales and you can approach growing your industry, your business in multiple avenues. You've got to hit all of the different areas. You've got to have great salespeople, but you also have to have that strong operational support inside. Because, you can go out there and bring 100 referrals to an organization, but if they can't actually close them and get the patients to allow the caregivers to come into the home, or if you don't have enough caregivers because they want to stay and work at your company, you're going to suffer. You're not going to be a successful business owner. So you've got to identify all of the issues, all of the hot buttons, and you've got to get them under control.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about operationally what owners are struggling with right now and how they can meet the demand of what's going on.
Yeah, I think one of the challenges that a lot of organizations will face is that sometimes they have nurses or they're non-nurse owners. When you're a non-nurse owner, it's really hard for you to turn around and say to a nurse, why did it take you 2 hours to do a service? Where me as an owner, I was out in the field as a full-time case manager. It's real hard for a nurse to tell me that, I can only do so much work in a day. No, I know what you can do in a day. I've been there. I've done it. And I think that when I sit down with an owner and I go through operationally, show me what you're scheduling them. Show me what's the drive time. Show me what is the software you're using. Have they had the correct learning and the ramp up? Did you give them an opportunity to learn enough that they're able to get productive? Because a lot of times operationally, if we could improve the nurse's productivity or the clinician's productivity, then they're going to be able to see more patients per day, and that will help with offsetting the increase in volume.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about sales in an organization too, because there's some misconceptions about that, about not being a salesperson or being a salesperson. So talk a little bit about that.
So when I first started my business, I never thought I would be a salesperson, right? I opened up my business thinking I was going to use my nursing knowledge, and that's what I was going to end up doing. But there came a time at my agency, Mike, where we started to lose market share. And I think what happened was we did not have a sales force. We thought that our reputation and giving everybody exceptionally high level of customer service was going to be enough that we would be able to maintain our census. Well, you learn, right? I was 26 when I opened my first company. I didn't even know what I didn't know. And I've learned over the years that you need to have a solid sales force. You need somebody out there constantly building accounts, building relationships. You're going to lose about 20% of your customers or your referring accounts every single year, just like sand going through your hands, because somebody's going to buy a building, a doctor's going to get bought out by a hospital system and be forced to use a different provider. So you constantly have to be identifying new accounts and new revenue streams. So without a sales team, you've got to have a sales team. It's not even an option anymore. And yet so many owners, they call us so last minute, Mike. They'll call and say, well, I never had a sales rep for the last 7 years, but my business is flat. Well, maybe that's because you need to have a salesperson.
Maybe why, right?
They just want to rely a lot of times on SEO optimization and on Facebook ads, and that is not always going to happen. You've got to go directly to the doctors, the hospitals, and teach them about what we can do and get those referrals generated early.
All right. And you've built a 5-step high-performance sales system. So you've used that, and that's what your clients, one of the things that your clients use you for and bring you in for. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we typically will put the reps that work at an organization on the High Performance Sales Academy. It is an online virtual program that they can watch and learn, and during which a lot of our clients will also have us coach them. So we have a coaching program in addition to that. What the sales process allows them to do is be able to quickly identify accounts that can refer, make sure that that's a viable account, meaning an account that's willing and able to refer to them. I can't even tell you, Mike, how many times I have seen sales reps make sales calls 52 weeks every week for the whole year with 0 referrals. Nothing more frustrating as an owner to see my money being flushed down the toilet. So one of the things that we make sure that we teach them is you're going to make sure that you've got an account that has the willingness and the ability to refer to you. And then we really teach them when is it time to walk away? When is it okay to go to a better opportunity? And that's the skills that 5-step system teaches. It's really a easily replicable sales process that has really guaranteed results. We've gotten an average of about 38% growth within 6 months, 30 to 38% on every one of our reps that uses our high-performance selling system.
That's impressive. So let's talk a little bit about quicker referrals too and the support that you provide, because you're available for months when you're working with an organization with the reps.
Yes. So with the High Performance Sales Academy, they get 12 months of support. They're able to come on and jump on a group coaching call, and me and Melanie man those calls so they can talk directly to us about any of the issues that they're struggling with, and we will help them.
That's impressive. Now, there's something, I actually found a testimonial on your LinkedIn page that I'm going to read, and then I'm going to have you talk a little bit about the project with Michael Hook. So here's what it is. So I remember the day Cheryl came to our office to begin the task of improving the sales team and sales outcomes. Using her immense experience, Cheryl helped to clarify with education the purpose, criteria, and the design of the home health sales method. In other words, Cheryl simplified her existing sales method and brought consistency and accountability to a mediocre sales team, turned the team around in 6 months. Cheryl's approach also brought cohesiveness to the sales and clinical team relationship, allowing for more referrals and increased admissions. Cheryl takes it a step further, however, in that she coaches the sales team individually to maximize potential as well as to help drill down on each account. This is valuable time that many reps do not get the chance or take the time to do in a traditional sales team. So that is what Michael Hook said. So why don't you talk a little bit about the project, because it correlates very nicely with everything you've been saying here.
So this was a very large organization that actually covered an entire state. And at the time that I got there, they had a lot of issues where they had been flat for the last couple years. And they needed somebody to come in and kind of do a sudden increase. They really wanted to grow very quick, Mike, so that they could sell. So they were looking for that quick revenue bump as fast as possible so that they could get the highest number of revenue for their business, which makes total sense to me.
Of course.
So when I went in there, of course, I could not share all of that information with the reps, but I really had to get them trained up and make sure that they could all speak the same language. So we put everybody through the high-performance sales process, and then I used one of my other products. The other product that we use with Michael is called our 52-week sales plan. Basically, it gives the reps a solid, legitimate reason to walk into their accounts every single week, and it teaches them a trigger question that they can say to help. We basically do something called a patient vignette, where we would describe a particular patient that was just status post hospitalization or surgery, and that they would be coming home, and what potentially that patient could benefit from receiving the services. So we coach up the reps, and we get the reps to use the 52-week sales plan to specifically ask for a patient so that the doctors can basically visualize a patient that they're sending home today or somebody that they saw in their doctor's office today to refer to the agency. So we were able to get great success with that company. They did have a 38% success rate. That's great. And then their CEO was able to sell the company for a hell of a lot of money. And ultimately, he went to work for another company that he has then now taken me with him again. Nice. This is probably the 4th place that I've been now with them. So it's kind of nice to see this is a leadership group that goes in venture capital. I forget how do you phrase them when they're capitalists that invest in money in companies.
Yeah, either private equity or venture capital.
Private equity or venture capital, right? And they're going in and they're basically hiring us, really, right? To build up the business.
They buy it up, build it up, sell it, and they just rinse and repeat.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Smart, smart, smart. And that you've got to be predictable to get those deals.
Yeah, and you got to be able to not make the reps know that their job could be in jeopardy.
Of course.
So there's got to be a lot of confidentiality. But on the same token, you've got to make sure that you're getting, ultimately for me, it's about getting the patient served.
Totally.
If they're doing their job and they're out talking to the doctors and they're able to get patients to be flooding in the door, then I'm hitting a home run. Now, with a company like that, it's not just building up the sales team. You got to build the ops. Yeah. So the other piece of the puzzle is that we taught all of their organizations and their locations the customer service component. We basically walked from the time that the phone rings for a referral, walked all the way through the billing process till the time of discharge to make sure that we had a streamlined process and a great experience so that the account was happy that was referring as well as the patient and their family.
Well done. Well done. So that makes a lot of sense. And it seems like, now, how long have you been in this business?
So I started out in home health, became a nurse in 1990, and I started in home health in 1993.
Okay. So
a long time,
you've got decades. and I think what I want to illustrate here is when someone works with you, you're bringing decades of knowledge and experience and wisdom. So the investment is like time compression. They get to jump into a time machine and experience decades of knowledge and wisdom that they can instantly leverage. It's a no-brainer. So here's another one. This is from Karen Schubert. Cheryl is like a walking encyclopedia, meaning so knowledgeable in healthcare, from finance to regulatory to clinical. She has a wealth of information to offer and truly enjoys sharing her wisdom and expertise. I would highly recommend her to anyone in the industry as a new or growing company who wants to be a #1 leader in home healthcare. She will help you set up and achieve these goals. So
yeah, Karen was a lovely, they were a startup. They were actually a group of nurses that were working in a nursing home and just wanted out of the long-term care. So they decided to open up their own home health. They actually brought me on pretty early. They were about 6 months after their certification. Wow. So I went in, helped them hire a sales team, coach the sales team, put the 52-week sales plan in place, and had them growing. That within a year, we were able to also open up an adult daycare center. And they bought the building that they were in, so they did some great things, and they were amazing to work with. And I love that they were also nurse entrepreneurs. Yeah. So for me, that was, that's like my heart right there.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, I love any entrepreneur, but it's something personal for me when it
as a fellow nurse, seeing a nurse entrepreneur is beautiful.
Yeah, because we're rare, right? Yeah. Not many of those nurses go outside of that comfort zone.
Yeah. It's rough. So you can work with an organization that wants to sell, someone who's been around, startups, or, like you said, work with someone who is a nurse who wants to get into this business. So you're doing great work. How does someone get a copy of your best-selling book, learn more about working with you, hire you as a speaker, bring you into their organization? What's the secret? What's the key?
So it's pretty easy. So first of all, to get the book, it's just go to my website. It's www.homecaresales.com/ book.
That's easy.
Yep, so that's how they can get the book. And then to work with us, really just shoot me or Mel an email, get online with us. We will easily give you a free call, an evaluation, see where you're at with your business and identify what is the plan of course that you need. What's going to really make the difference? The one thing I hate for owners to do is to waste a dollar. You know, there's no reason why you should throw away money with things that don't work. I already know what doesn't work. I've already seen what doesn't work. So come and let us give you what we have seen work throughout the country. No matter if you're a for-profit, nonprofit, mom and pop, chain, it doesn't matter. The strategies and the techniques that we've implemented are successful at all of those types of businesses. So just come find me on www.homecaresales.com, Mike.
All right, very easy. So the next step is yours. You can see that Cheryl is incredibly confident. She's incredibly knowledgeable. She's obviously going to be a blast to work with. Your people are going to love her. And this is the fastest, easiest way for you to help grow your business right now, no matter what your goal is. So again, head on over to homecaresales.com/book, get a copy of her book, and then you can contact her directly through the contact form. Thanks for watching.